he's not opposed to maybe going back to the negotiating table. So with a little bit more skin in the game, you know.
That's the worst saying ever.
I have a question about that. Like people that are looking to get financing right now that are unemployed and, you know, not working, how are you doing their credit scores and how are you being able to finance them if they don't have a job?
Well, if they're unemployed, that is going to be a stopper right there. So they have to have some sort of an income that we can qualify. So now if they still work for the company, but they're on leave of absence kind of a thing, but again, they're still employed, we can work with that buyer. But again, if someone's collecting unemployment and they no longer, you know, if they've been temporarily let go by the company, then that's going to be an issue. Because what we're going to do is during processing, during the first week or two of the loan application, as well as a couple days prior to the loan closing, is we're going to do a verification of their employment. So if that employer says, no, this person is not employed, again, that's a hard stop. They don't have any income at that point. If they say, yes, they are employed, then we can proceed business as usual.
So can you guys explain the difference between furlough, temporarily laid off, and is there a difference between all of those things?
It all depends on, I think Pat just left. It all depends on what the employer says, to be honest.
Okay.
Like I actually just talked to a buyer and they said, yes, that they're on furlough. And I said, hey, call your boss. If we do a VOE, what is HR going to say? They said unemployed. Well, unfortunately, let's not get the loan started if that's what HR is going to say at this point. So
Okay.
I would, again, have the buyer reach out to their HR manager to see what their response would be first.
And I think, I mean, anyone who knows more than me about this, because I know, like Leslie, you might know, and Claire, you might know, just because of your supervisory positions earlier. Like furlough technically means that you're still getting paid and you're still getting your benefits. Like you're still employed, you're just working less hours, right? Like, do I understand that correctly?
I am not personally familiar with the word furlough in any of the work I've done. On leave is what I have used and what I've seen in my part of the industries that I've represented in the past. So on leave is definitely still being paid, but you don't have to report to work if that's how the agreement was written. And there would be a documentation for any kind of leave taken. I think there are unpaid leaves. I know there are. So, you know, there should always be a document between the employee and the employer that is outlining there will be a pay structure and what it will be during the leave.
I think it just all depends on what company, you know, each company is going to lay it out a little bit differently. So,
right. That's our understanding too. And again, that's why we want to make sure that if we're going to get something in process and the person is, you know, either currently or has a very high likelihood of, you know, COVID affecting their employment, is again, let's just figure out what will that company say, what will that HR person say, and again, that's who we'll reach back out to for, you know, the actual loan itself. So I mean, that's probably the safest way to go, is just go right to the horse's mouth.
So do we know what's going to happen? I guess we don't really know, but once this, you know, people do start coming back out and, you know, quarantine is lifted, how is the, you know, them being on unemployment going to affect them getting a house in the next like 2 months if you have to look at back salary and back pay? Do you know?
No, yeah, that won't affect it.
Okay.
As long as they have their regular predictable income that will continue, that's really all that we're going to look at. So we can't use the unemployment income to qualify them. And obviously with the extenuating circumstances, you know, lenders aren't going to, you know, penalize them for that. But again, as long as they have their stable job income, then we can use that to qualify.
Yeah, they have to be back to their previous employer. They can't rely on just social or unemployment. So if they say, well, you know, I got a few more weeks and I'm going to go back to my job in a few weeks. No, get back to your job now, get a pay stub so we can rely on that, and we'll get you qualified, we'll get closed.
Correct.
Okay. Any other, anything else happening? I mean, you know, the last time we talked, FHA got a little stricter, anything like that happening where we're finding, stricter qualifications?
As far as credit scores, no, it's
OFA.
680.
The
Go
OFA.
ahead, Joel. That's a good point.
Yeah, so we again are an approved OFA lender. So we reached out to OFA and they still are going to be taking applications for the lower FHA credit type scores. So there are different income limits. There's more qualification standards that have to be met, but it's possible the program does exist out there that we could get someone qualified for.
What's
Okay.
OFA's qualification for credit score again?
Typically, it has to be at least 640.
Okay. So FHA is at 680 and OFA is at 640.
Correct. So if someone falls below the 680 threshold, again, we can still potentially get them qualified.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of first-time home buyer programs. We have the CRA program that's 620, that's still available.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all getting emails from other lenders with the horror stories and scaring you that FHA is out of the market. They want 680 and everything else. You're not going to hear that from us. We have alternatives. We'll talk to the buyer, find out what's best for them, and not discourage them into buying by all means. We're going to give them opportunities and other avenues of financing.
Hey, Pat. Is it true about needing more cash on hand with a pre-approval now, because they're, even with conventional, looking at people being able to make 5 months payments if they get unemployed during all this?
No, we haven't experienced that new guideline.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Have you heard that from a different lender, Claire?
Yeah, I had a person who was pre-approved in November, went to go get their pre-approval updated again, and they weren't able to because of that specific reason.
Well, that's when probably a second opinion would come in play, have them talk with
Right.
us. And if,
Well, unfortunately, it freaked them out enough that we'll see what's gonna happen.
Okay. All right, Pat and Joe, anything else monumental, anything that's shaken?
No, I mean, in my opinion, it's the majority of where we're at right now.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Agents, do you guys have any
we
questions?
want to talk to people.
Right.
Okay. We
Well, but I mean,
need
I
to.
think it's a great time, and I think we as agents have to really work hard on that. Like, there's never been a better time for someone who planned on buying later this year to do the stuff that they need to do right now, because the sort of that pressure is off in a way. So I do think that it's our responsibility to get to our pipeline. Whoever's on your advanced business planner who's thinking about buying for the rest of the year, like get them talking to you guys now, because they could put themselves just in a way better position just by doing a couple simple things.
Yeah, and if buyer's gone cold because of the situation we're in, give them a call, and we'd love to talk to them and just explain that, it's okay, we're going to get through it. We don't know when, but what we're going to do is we're going to get you prepared to be the best possible buyer you can be in a seller's eyes, and then you're going to shine. So when this thing breaks out, your offer is going to come on top of everyone else, because number one, you're prepared. You can close early. Okay, if we need to have a 30-day close, we can do it. And number two, you have a pre-approval letter from Howard Hanna Mortgage with our 97% capture rate. So I would just say relax and just get ready when it all happens and explodes, and we're going to be there with you.
Okay. How about anybody experiencing appraisal issues right now? I know we talked about this a little bit, I think, on Friday, but any changes since then with appraisals for anybody?
Mine for my listing is just an exterior appraisal. I don't know if you guys talked about that already, but
Desktop.
Yeah, we ordered that one, and the appraiser is wanting to do a drive-by with the MLS photos, basically.
yeah.
So some people do have cold feet about going in the properties. We are asking and ordering them, and again, requesting that a full appraisal be done on every single appraisal that we order. But again, it really is up to the appraiser on how he or she wants to handle it.
So if somebody does a desktop or just a drive-by appraisal and it comes up short, is there a way to say, well, hold on, no, you have to go into, somebody has to go into the house? Like, will they reassign it to somebody else as, like, to sort of make up for the fact that it came up short on a desktop or drive-by?
No, that won't happen.
Yeah.
Same procedure has to take place as where the buyer has to contest value and show comparables why. This is all kind of new, this drive-by stuff and people not wanting to go in. So we haven't got any directive changing the way we've conducted business as far as appraisals.
Does buyer have to
No.
pay if they contest that?
No. Just write a letter and have the agent supply the comps and why you think it's undervalued. But to be honest with you, it's a tough go, okay, to get it, you know, the value increased. Probably better to get in touch with the seller and try to negotiate somewhere in between, okay, rather than trying to get full price for it. There's got to be a happy medium between buyer and seller, and that might be the best route to really start at, especially in this time where, you know, there's not a lot of buyers out there who, well, I shouldn't say that, but, you know, let's keep the deals we have together, okay? Negotiate the buyer, the seller, everybody get involved, stay engaged.
So I think that maybe a takeaway from this is, if you are working on a deal and you hear that there's going to be a drive-by appraisal or there's going to be a desktop appraisal, anything short of a full going inside typical appraisal, let's try to be proactive about it and make sure that the appraiser has a list of all the improvements and the cost of the improvements. Make sure that if there's not really high quality pictures on the MLS for the appraiser to be comparing houses to, that we're either putting something into place to get those pictures to them, or somebody's there doing a walkthrough with a video camera. And like, let's try to minimize the opportunity of the appraisal falling short if somebody's just doing a drive-by. Like, if you're working with a buyer and you have a contract on a house that's a gem on the outside and the pictures on the MLS suck, but when you went in with them, they're like, yes, I'm going to pay $300,000 for this house. And then you find out it's going to be a drive-by appraisal or a desktop appraisal. Make sure that we're getting anything we can into the hands of the appraiser to prove that value so it comes off right the first time and we don't have to contest it.
Yeah, I would say you guys are doing a fantastic job in this market, getting people in houses they want to buy, and we want to put them together, okay? And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to work our tails off to make sure that everything that you write and give to us goes through. And the home office realizes that, and that's what we want to do, okay? We'll do whatever we can. We're sitting home, so we have a lot of time to think this over. Joe and I talk a lot about situations that are going on. How can we do this? How can we make it happen? And we're going to do it. We're committed to that.
And I have to just note that so we have a fair amount of appraisal issues that are happening in the office, and knock on wood, and this is real bona fide wood, I bought it at our house in the clearance center. None of them are through Howard Hanna Mortgage. And it's really important to just, that your buyers understand that if you're going to Podunk Bank of, Central Ohio, that they are sending an appraiser that maybe does not understand the market very well. So now more than ever, it's super important that you're working with a lender that's using the right type of appraisal system and has a little bit more control on what type of appraiser gets sent out to your house.
Well, that's a good point, Chris, because there are two types of appraisal systems. Okay, we have staff appraisers. Okay, so they're on staff, they're on our payroll. We do allot them jobs, randomly, so we don't pick and choose. But then you have other companies that have an appraisal service, okay, where they hire an appraisal service to do the appraisal. So that's why you don't know the guy is from Toledo and he's coming into Ohio City. So that's one of the things you have to look out for,
No, it's normally a big thing. I think it's an even bigger thing right now. I mean, we have at least 3, maybe 4 appraisal issues going on right now. And I mean, we don't know who the lender is. They're if they're from Ohio, they're not from this area at all. So really just try to direct everything and use that as a reason to get your second opinion, you know, if someone's moving forward.
Well, we can offer assistance. We can look at the contract, what the appraisal is, and maybe come up with some ideas. Seller reduces a little bit, buyer comes up a little bit. Is there mortgage insurance involved where we can maybe get a better deal on mortgage insurance? Not staying, you know, not coming to us for financing, but other options that we use that maybe that lender can use to keep everything together.
Any other financing issues that you guys are experiencing agent-wise?
Are we allowed to ask who the employer is of the buyer?
I've had people do that. Like I've had a listing agent call me recently, like twice this week, and just like ask if they are at risk at all for losing their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, who your employer is or what line of field you're in is not a protected class. So that is something that you can either ask as a listing agent to, you know, sort of assess the stability of the loan, or it's something that you as a buyer agent can use actually to maybe help sell your customer. I can't remember somebody, oh, maybe it was Turbit. You had the people who were vets and we were talking about it. And I'm like, just say they're in the medical field. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I have
offer situation. They're in the medical field.
Yeah, the one on Wascana, she works in she's an engineer for some like PPE factory. So like we put that in with our offer. Mm-hmm. And I think that helped because we were in multiple offers.
Yeah, I would say the answer is you can ask if you're the listing agent, and you can use it if you're the buyer's agent to strengthen your offer. I mean, it's not a term, but Ben, is it important right now who you work for?
Well, Aaron already asked me who this guy works for, so.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Powers, not Aaron.
Mm-hmm. Any other financing questions? You guys are great. All right. Well, Joe and Pat, we're gonna talk listings pretty much for the rest of our conversation. So if you guys want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. I know one of you is extremely bored and will probably stay on just to see all the faces. But
is that you, Joe? Actually, I do have to. We have another Zoom coming in at 1:30.
Okay.
For our West region for mortgage.
Okay.
So yeah. So I got a couple things to do. If anything comes up
during that meeting that we need to call a fresh Zoom for, just let us know. I think it goes without saying that most of us can Zoom on short notice right now. You know, we don't have a ton on our running around schedule. So you guys can jump out if you want to. Thank you.
I gotta go. I gotta throw some burgers on the grill.
Hey, did Pat shave the back of his head?
Oh, Pat, we would, before you go, we'd like to see your haircut.
Ooh.
Damn.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you took that short, huh?
I like it.
Good luck.
No, but you know what? I got a little too much sun on Saturday. I was out on the deck. Yeah.
Is that what you call the golf course? The
right,
deck?
hitting golf balls off the deck.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I am bored, so at least I don't have to worry about my haircut for a while.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, we're here for you. Call us.
Anytime, guys. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. So the rest of our conversation, I think today is just going to be a listing mastermind. I mean, we can talk about whatever anybody has. If you're having any issues, don't feel like we can't discuss them. But for the lead conversation, I want to talk about listings because it's something that I'm really getting the most questions about right now. I'm sort of individually getting a lot of, you know, I have someone who wants to sell the house. Should I list it? And then if the answer is yes, what the heck do I do? So I'll just start by saying, if somebody needs to sell their house or wants to sell their house, yes, you should. I think you should still list it. I think that it's fair to say that there are buyers that are still out there. There are still multiple offer situations. So as long as something is sellable, and by sellable we mean it's in the right condition and it's in the right price and it's in the right location, then there's no reason that a home shouldn't be listed right now. I think that I lost my train of thought. So if it's in the right condition, it's in the right price, there are still buyers out there for it. You know, if it's a home and it's not really a great presentation, and let's say a 75-year-old woman lives there, or a 75-year-old man, or an old couple, or somebody who's immune compromised, maybe it's not the right time, right? You know, but if we have something where somebody can keep it clean and keep it sanitized, or if it's vacant, you know, this is a great time for that. I don't think that there's a reason to hold off on anything. First, because there's buyers out there. And second, I was talking to some agents about this earlier today and yesterday about individual listings. I don't think that days on market are going to become a stigmatism like they have been for the past year. If something's on the market at the end of all this and it's been on the market for 45 days and this whole thing breaks open and everybody feels like they're good to go outside and we sort of resume where we were, I don't think anybody's going to look at that 45 days on market and be like, oh, what's wrong with that house? They're going to just assume if they took a break, the listing took a break as well, right? So that's why I think it's still definitely worth listing houses. Anybody have an opinion on that?
One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me, I feel like, you know, going on what you said, Chris, like everyone who's listing now is extremely motivated. I've noticed the prices have been like much more market value, and everything I've been showing has been going in like a day or two. Like if I can't get someone in that day, it's gone the next day. So I think sellers are definitely being very realistic, and they are pricing their homes accordingly just to mitigate like having 5 days of showings. So I think that's definitely the motivation, like get people in, get it under contract, cut off everything.
Yeah, I've heard that more than once where a seller, it went on the market. It happened with Haley's listing that she had, the new listing in Parma Heights, where it went on the market and, some people saw it the first day and even there was like 10 more showings the next day, but they got a couple offers the first day and they're like, no, we're good. Like, this is good enough. We'll take it. So I think that's a common experience.
Yeah, it's just not worth having people like walking through your house. Like, who cares if you've got 10 more showings tomorrow? If you have the price you want, just cut it off.
Right. So I think it is definitely worth listing right now. Does anybody have any reason not to list right now? Because I mean, really, this is a conversation. This is not what I say it goes or anything like that. And I'm curious if anybody is telling people to hold off.
I went on a listing appointment on Friday, and the woman that lives there is 85, and she still might want to list. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think that's a personal decision that she gets to make, right? And we can do as agents everything that we can do to minimize the number of showings that are happening in that house.
Okay.
If it's priced properly, that's the biggest factor. If somebody puts the right price on something, there is a buyer out there that will buy it. We had seen in the past, and we've got one in the office where the situation is there has to be an accepted offer before you can do a walkthrough of the house. I don't think that's right for many situations. I think that might be right now for investment properties that are tenant occupied, because it's not their decision to have someone coming through their house in this environment. So I would suggest doing something like that if you have an occupied multi-unit or a rental, just because, you don't want the tenant just saying no all the time. And honestly, I think everyone would agree, if you were a tenant in a house, you would probably say no all the time right now, because it's not your money on the line. So, I mean, if that particular seller wants to move forward, then all we can do is give her the right instructions, and do everything we can to market the house virtually to minimize the showings to the people who really might want to buy it.
Okay.
So good pictures, the Matterport tour. I mean, I know that in the past we've always tried to use the Matterport for nice houses, right? you know, like houses that were showcases and everything. I think that we should be taking advantage of it for basically any house that we can, just because it's going to minimize the number of people that are coming through the door.
Okay.
Anybody else have anybody that wants to hold off? And holding off is okay. I don't want, you know, I don't want there to be like sell, sell, sell. Holding off is okay if that's what somebody wants to do. Okay. Well, so let's talk about marketing the house then. So if you're getting a listing, brand new or existing, what is everybody doing to market their listings right now in light of the current environment? I only have one listing, so I don't, you know. I know some people are Matterporting, right? Yeah, some people are Matterporting. I am one of the things that you guys might have seen what we did on Sunday for the open houses is I actually did a live Matterport with Claire's listing. I decided to use that as a guinea pig to see what that experience looked like. It's a little clunky, I'm not gonna lie, but I wanted to do it for two reasons. One, I wanted to be able to showcase a house that wasn't being held open virtually that week. And two, I want to showcase the fact that we actually have this Matterport camera in the office. So I will continue to do that. If we have a Matterport tour for something, just know that it might be used in that same way that I used Claire's listing. And you guys can do it as well. I know that not everybody has like their computer system set up for like a screen sharing or, you know, a screen recording system. There are some very affordable ones. I'm sure there are some free ones that I always just pay for everything. So if you wanted to, you could do the same thing that I did and post that either on your Instagram page or on your Facebook page, where you're going to an existing Matterport tour and doing a live walkthrough almost like you were virtually showing it. And it's just something where you could have some content, again, show that you have access to the camera because everyone has access to it, and show off a house at the same time. The two programs that I use for screen capture are, I have one that's called Screencastify, and then this Zoom, actually, I paid for the upgrade. It's $40 for the month, but I can record the screen and I could go live at the same time, or I could just do the screen and record it and then post it if I wanted to. With the Zoom, if you were going to plan on doing that, you know, I paid for it for the month, not for the year. It's cheaper if you pay for it for the full year. But, you know, that's something that you could do. You could probably even borrow my Zoom account to do it if it's something that you want to do and you don't want to pay for it. So that's just an idea of how you could either market a listing that you have or even a listing that you don't have. You could use somebody else's Matterport tour. I think I speak for everybody that has a Matterport tour of one of their listings. The more exposure, the better. You know, I don't care who does the live tour there. I just want it to get out there and, you know, be seen as much as possible.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just do like a Zoom meeting with yourself?
I did.
Because I mean, like, because I'm not paying for it and I have options to share my screen and record.
Okay. Yeah, then I would say, why don't you be the guinea pig and try it out? So I know the record, you're not paying for it and you have record?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel ripped off.
Well, I think Zoom like updated when all this started happening and they're giving a lot of stuff for free.
They gave you the pro account for free, maybe is what it sounds like. And then on the pro account, that there is an upgrade. It's $40 to be able to live stream.
Okay.
So I did do that because I wanted, you know, that's what I wanted. But there's no reason that you can't just share your screen, record it, and then post it. Because then you could post it on Facebook and you can post it in IGTV as well, which would be nice.
And I can make sure that people can't hear me nervous breathe.
Erin, shortest walkthrough of a house ever because she thought this is what she thought she sounded like. I'm like, you sound fine.
That's all I was thinking about.
But so on those walkthroughs, another thing that we could be doing to market the house, and I will send out a really quick tutorial on this later today. But I hope everyone knows that if you go live on Facebook, you can actually download your live. So once it's live on Facebook, if you click on the date, there'll be an option that says download this video, and then you can download the video that you made live, and then you can post it over on Instagram. So it's a way to sort of reuse the same content over and over again. Or you could just repost it later. You know, if you've got a listing that you did an open house for a couple weeks ago, you know, who says you can't just repost it in a couple of weeks? Like maybe you'll catch a different audience, or maybe, you know, someone won't realize that it was at the same house, and they're like, man, that Jen Bucky's is really crushing it. She's doing another open house, and that's just the message that we want to get out there. So I will send, it's really super simple to do once you realize like where the button is to hit. And it's weird because you're hitting the date and not the hamburger or the 3 dots or anything like that. It's the date that gives you the access. And I don't know if there's a way to do that off of Instagram Live. So anyone who's more Instagram knowledgeable, just let me know if there's a way to do that. Same thing. What else? What other kind of questions do we have for listings? What kind of problems are we having?
I had a question for Haley. On that listing that you sold like within a day, did you offer, or what did the homeowners do as far as like cleaning afterwards? Was that even a sale tactic for you, or was it not discussed?
No, I'm like was I gonna clean their house?
No, or like were you, you know, like a cleaning like they have these cleaning services that now come in and like sanitize and all that stuff.
No, these were friends of mine too. So I mean, I basically provided like gloves, shoe covers, and Clorox wipes there, but they were like, I mean, I knew it was going to sell quickly, so they were kind of like out of their house for a day, came home, instantly cleaned everything. So no, it wasn't even like a conversation we had to have really.
Okay.
Has anyone looked into that? Does anyone know what the cost of like bringing the Clorox Total 360 lady in to do a house? Aaron, were you going to call that? Did you talk to the girl at the Sugar Bar?
No, I forgot.
Great. Aaron, talk to the girl at the Sugar Bar. Find out how much it costs.
Sugar Bar.
I'll message her right now, actually.
Okay. Well, they just happen to, it's funny because there's this woman who owns the system in Lakewood, and it's called Clorox Total 360. And the only reason that I know what it's called was before this whole thing started, that Kate's school was using it, and it was a big deal that they had hired this company. That's basically they come in and virus fumigate a house. The best way to put it is they're like spraying this sort of like aerosol version of bleach everywhere, and it's, you know, cleaning up the viruses. And I can't remember if it was the cleaner or the Sugar Bar. One of them had posted on Facebook that they had it done. So we want to find out how much that costs, because that might be something that if you're representing a buyer, you can negotiate into a sale, or vice versa, as a seller, you could offer. I think that would be pretty great, actually. Because I would say it's on everybody's mind, especially for an occupied home that somebody might be moving out of, and then somebody might immediately be moving into if there's no, you know, sort of time frame between those two things happening.
Yeah, Aaron, will you text me or shoot me an email when you find out the cost of that? Because I have a transaction that possibly move forward if I could offer them a cleaning service afterwards.
Okay. And you know, there's also, I'm curious if ServPro is offering anything. ServPro is the company that does like the cleanups after fires and floods, and they do mold mitigation and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had something offered. I saw someone post the other day on Facebook something about UV lights and ozone machines, and that seemed a little, she also sells essential oils. So, you know, I wasn't real sure about whether or not I should trust her medical opinion on how to clean a house. How about, what else? What other problems are we having with listings? Let's say you were to take a brand new listing today. What's the best thing that you could do to market it in this environment?
Price it right.
Right? I agree. I think if it's priced right, it's still going to sell. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's not priced right. Like, what are the marketing tools that we can be using?
We could use the money back guarantee.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good message right now. Yeah, if you have a listing and it's a single family home within those price ranges, which are where basically all of our listings are, single family home. Like there's no reason not to have that right now. I mean, there's no reason ever not to have it, but right now we can definitely use it. It sends a great message.
I also have a client who does metal work, and I dropped off a rider to him on Friday to see if he could make me one that said virtual tours available to hang on their sign. So if anybody's interested, I can give you what he quotes me at for it.
Okay. Claire with immediate mute as soon as her sentence is over. No, and so I had looked into getting those signs done, and a couple of things had happened with them. One, the delivery time on them was like 45 days for them to be affordable. And I was like, well, gosh, I hope in 45 days we don't need these signs. I suspect we'll probably need them for 60 days or whatever. And then the second thing is you know, I'm obviously being encouraged not to spend a ton of money on sort of you know, unusual things like that. So I felt like there's other way. I would rather spend that money like digitally advertising the virtual open houses that we have. But that being said, if I had a listing where I had a sign, and if anybody wants, we have old sign writers, right? Like we have sign writers from agents who aren't in the business anymore. We have sign writers from programs that don't exist anymore, like the tax credit from whatever, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when they were offering the $15,000 tax credit. You are more than welcome to take any of those signs. And this is something that I have done for previous listings in the past when there was a message that I just needed for one listing. I mean, and I did it for Claire. Remember your homemade sign, how honky that looked? That was pretty crazy. But you could do something like that where you're just spray painting an old metal rider and putting your message on there. You know, you can get letters from Home Depot. You can get vinyl letters from Home Depot. You can just hand paint something on there. Like if you have a listing that you feel you're going to be someone who's doing a lot of virtual opens, like I would do that. That would be not only a great craft project for crafting hour, but it's something that you could put out there if you need to. So I have extra metal signs, and there's probably actually, honestly, some extra wood signs too, if you prefer to do that. And you just spray paint them white and then put your message on there. So that would be a good marketing idea. How about anything else that anybody running social media ads right now? I'm not seeing a lot. I'm not seeing a lot in general for the industry. I mean, so it's not that I'm not seeing a lot from our office. I'm also not getting a lot of ads. So that tells me one of two things. Most likely, it's because people are tightening their belts and they're trying to spend as little money as an agent as possible, right? Or people just don't have confidence in the market. So I think that if you do have a budget that you could still be working with, there's definitely some room for some virtual like marketing, some ads right now on Facebook, on Instagram, because I'm not seeing a lot. And I don't know if anybody else is seeing a lot. I would assume you're not, because I'm not. Okay. All right, what other kind of problems can we talk about for listings? You guys are killing me. Killing me. Next time, a cup of coffee before the meeting. I mean, I'm just gonna have Claire unmute her sound just so there's some noise.
Ooh, quiet time just went.
That doesn't even work out.
Haley, did you take pictures for your listing? Did you have someone come in?
My roommate did it.
Okay.
She can do it for you if you want.
So what is everybody paying for photography right now? Because I do think that so we've got Haley's roommate. We've got
She's home. You can talk to her right now.
Just walk the camera right over. You know, so I know that we can probably get listing pictures done for about $115 is kind of, oh, you know what? Actually, Melissa, no, I don't think we will be doing them this Sunday. It's Easter. I didn't even think about it. Melissa had asked if we were doing open houses on Sunday. It's Easter, so probably not. But if we wanted to, so we have two options. We can either hold off this weekend, or we can do a concerted effort on Saturday. So I will look to you guys for a lead on that. I think that I haven't done haven't added up the views from our this Sunday, but I would say that we were, you know, at least at probably about a total of 1,000 to 1,500 views for all of the videos that went out. So I do think it's working. I look at the views that I can see on your personal pages, on your personal business pages, and I mean, I'm seeing things in the hundreds, and that's, I think, worth the 30 minutes, right? Anybody, actually, let me finish up on the photography and then let's go into the open houses. So probably between $100 and $150, you can have the photography done for your house. I know that's a tough thing to ask people to spend money right now because tightening your belt is important. But at the same time, I think that's one of the best things that you can be doing for your listing if you don't have it done, because you want to show it the best way that it can be shown. All right, moving on.
Hey, Jen, do you know if Liz is taking photos right now?
You're still muted, Jen. Hold on.
Hi. I don't know. I know that she has been quarantining herself pretty hard.
Yeah.
So I can check in with her and find out.
Okay.
And I'll send an email out to the office to let everyone know if she's still doing it. And she does take great photos.
She does.
My friend Liz. So I'll provide her contact information regardless, but I'll let you guys know if she's still working.
Okay.
And I know that I had met with that photographer a couple weeks ago, who is, Tom's not on here now, but it's Tom Sugar, our newest agent. It's his nephew, who's also named Tom Sugar, who is also an agent at a different brokerage. It's a crazy world we live in. But I had met with him and talked with him about his photography business. And he does a package, and it's, I think it was like $115. So I know that's a little bit more expensive than Liz was, but his stuff is also pretty good. So, all right, so let me get some opinions on the virtual tours, because I think they're going great, but I also think that my kids have lovely singing voices and I love band concerts. So how does everyone else feel that the virtual tours are going?
Even though I hated doing it, I had 2 of my friends reach out to me and let me know that they're going to be buying soon, and so I've got them set up on Real Scout now, and I sent them lenders to call.
And
it was they reached out to me from that live video.
Like during it, or messaged you sort of?
Or well, after, yeah.
And that wasn't even your listing. Like that was the difference between this week's virtual tours and last week's. Last week's, they were all our office listings, which was great. I loved the fact that this week we actually branched out and did other offices listings, because I think that there's a lot of opportunity. And I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe there was any other office that had any type of organized event like we did. And I think that having everything back to back and having a schedule, like, really just increased the viewership of everything. Maureen, how was yours?
I think it went really well. Dan Logan commented a lot, which I think helped with just putting like my Facebook Live to like the top of like whatever feed it was on, because I saw more people had jumped on like actually during it than they did my last one, which was last week.
Okay.
Or maybe 2 weeks ago now. I don't know my days anymore. So I thought that was really good. I got good feedback from friends saying that they love that I'm doing this. They think it's really unique. And I'm just like, everybody's kind of doing it. So the feedback has been really good. I have gotten one of my friends saying, hey, once this is all over and done with, we're going to be looking. We don't want to do anything now, and made it very clear that that was the case. And I respect that. I do think it would be worth having signs in yards.
I don't disagree with you. I have to tell you.
I honestly, being so serious with this, I think think that this might be the new standard that is going to be created after all this is said and done. People are going to expect to see, you know, these virtual tours, like the Matterport cameras on every listing. They're going to hope and pray to see that, you know, the listing has been put up on social media in some way, shape, or form, like with a video, and it's just going to become more of a standard to do it live. So that's where I kind of see it all going.
Well, Claire, when you get that information from Metal Maker, let us know. I mean, what maybe our option is, you know, if everybody has one rider, because you're not going to, I mean, it's unlikely that you would do more than one virtual open house. But if you're someone who thinks that, especially right now, you're going to be doing this, you know, it might be a good investment. I'm going to play around today because, you know, what else do I have to do? But I'm going to try to make a sign and see how it goes. I'm going to do what I had just talked about spraying a rider white and seeing what I could do to make a sign.
I don't even think, like, here's what my thought is, you know, like how our open house signs are, it doesn't even need to be a rider. What needs to happen, because people are going to be driving past, they're going to be walking past, and now this is going to be virtual. You can't just put like your social media name up there. It needs to be scannable so
like
people can just like take their phone out and go to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know if you were on the meeting, and let me see if I can go into here. I had made something before, and hold on. Canvas.
See, my inkling of how, like, I've done all the live videos, saved the videos like that. So if somebody was going to call me based off of the rider, like I would be able to share the Matterport, the virtual tour videos with them. Like that was sort of my thought process versus the QR code. Cause then I at least am touching them versus
making them reach out to you. So sorry, this is sideways, but this is the, this is what I was originally going to have printed. And it was, and because there isn't, I wanted, you know, at the time, you know, we had people doing their lives on Instagram, and at the time we had people doing their lives on Facebook. And so my problem was like, what do you make the sign for? Do you make it for, I like the idea of the QR code because it sends the information. I had also bought this website, onlineopens.com, to try to direct people to, so there would be like a link to everybody's personal business page, you know, to try to increase the presence there as well. So, I mean, maybe we'll start with, so I agree with you. I think that we do need some sort of sign like this. I guess my biggest fear is I don't want to get it wrong right off the bat, because if we're going to continue to use them, I want them to be something that's reusable. So maybe I'll just play around with some stuff right now and see if I can make something. And if I can make one, then I can make 5, because that seems to be the average of virtual tours that we're having every Sunday is about 5.
There's a Keller Williams listing around the corner from my house. I'll take a picture of it because they put something like one of the, you know, vinyl signs. They put that in the yard a few days after they had the sign in there. And I can take a picture of it and see what information they have on there too.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I think that if we all had a consensus of what social media platform the lives were going to be on, then that would be a step in the right direction. Like if they're always going to be on, but I don't know if we could get there, because some of you are so much more stronger on Instagram and some people prefer Facebook. So that's my first obstacle is how do you?
Yeah, that's my question is like, how do you go live on both platforms at like the same time? And is that possible?
No.
But my question is, if we're doing it as an office, as a virtual tour, then it's always going to be through Facebook. And if you want to do a secondary live for your own benefit of saving it on Instagram, then it's on Instagram. But were you able to put that link in the office's Instagram profile?
Yeah, I checked to make sure that I did it right for what you were talking about, but I did do it as soon as you told me. So as long as I understood what I was supposed to do, I did it.
Because even if we are more avid on Instagram, and if we're trying to send people to the office for the virtual tours on Facebook on Sundays, like there's just a clickable that you can direct them, just go click on the link on our office page, tagged here, like, so it all interweaves with each other.
Yeah, our office name on Facebook is actually, and it's either NEO Howard Hanna or Howard Hanna NEO. So Northeast Ohio is what it stood for. I was just able to, I figured that was like a nice broader name for it. So that's, you know, we could be sharing that verbally, but I do believe I did the link the way that you had instructed me to do it. I think, check though, because if it's not, I need to know that I didn't do it right.
Yeah, I'll click on it.
Okay.
Because I'm more like a lot of my stuff is more through Instagram.
Right.
But if I can just send them to the office Instagram page where they click a link and get taken to the virtual tours, like that's, I mean, people do that every day.
Well, and I actually believe that if you're at a house doing a virtual open on Facebook, you should redo it again on Instagram. You're there, right? There's no, like the whole tour takes 20 minutes on a normal size house. So I would do one live on Facebook and then live on Instagram right after and try to catch people in two different places. I would actually do a third one where, well, actually now I wouldn't do the third one since I figured out how to download from Facebook, but I think it's important to have one that's downloaded as well. Okay, well, I will work on, I like a good crafting project. It's better than spreading mulch. So I'm going to work and see if we can figure out at least a rider because I have them. I would love to have some plastic yard signs, but they're pretty expensive to have printed in small batches is the problem. And technically, we only really need like 5 or 6 or 7 at the most because, you know, you should only have one if you're doing the virtual open house that weekend. So that's what my struggle is.
What about ones if they're the vinyl that said virtual tours available? Because then every listing yard would, you know, goes in the yard.
So would you just have, what would the additional information be on there?
I don't know, I'm gonna go look at that Keller Williams one because that's exactly what it says. It's like huge, like virtual tours, and then I don't know where it's directing them, but I wanted to see.
Well, I did see something on that All Things Real Estate page or whatever it's called. You know, that one website with like the cute merchandise and everything. I know they actually have like a virtual tours available rider that I saw an advertisement for on Facebook.
Would it be possible to like have a QR code on it and then when they scan it, have it go to the Matterport?
Yeah, but I think Claire has a really good point that you don't want to give everything away. Like we need to maintain some ability to capture who's interested. You know, like because if you say you scan here and you give them everything that you have, then they don't need to talk to you at all.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, would we get notified that they scanned? Like how our postcards are?
Yeah, I'm sure that there is some sort of
thing is with the postcards though, like you have like their address and that QR code is specific to that address that it was sent to.
Actually, no, the QR code is the same on every card. It's when they put their address in that it connects with whatever mailing lists went out, and so that's how they know what. Yeah, if you look at the QR code on those cards, they're the same QR code on every single thing.
So then quick question, how does Kim Crane do her ads? Because that would be the way to like go about it.
Registration?
Well, yeah, because like that would be the honest to God only way to capture their information and not give everything away, but at least have it available.
So so it's called forced registration and there's a lot of websites that do it. Basically all of like Keller Williams, they buy Playster. Websites is the company that does it, and forced registration is a big thing. You know, Listings to Leads has a forced registration with a QR code. I don't know an easy way to incorporate it because it's sort of something that, I don't know, as a consumer, you hate it, right? Like every consumer hates it when you click on a news article and when you click on something from Inman, if you don't have and I don't have a membership to Inman, you get to read the first 4 lines and then it's like, okay, now pay us for the rest of it. That's basically the equivalent of forced registration. You know, as a brokerage, we don't do a ton of forced registration just because we want to be the people that are providing the value and like sort of developing the relationship that way. But there are systems that exist. Like I used to use Listings to Leads, and Listings to Leads, it was what, $30 a month, one of those things that cost $30 a month. And they had like a forced registration website. I mean, I'll put some thought into.
My only thing with QR codes, though, is that they would have to be specific to that person. And thus, if we were sharing them as an office, like, we're not going to be able to do that.
Right. We need a system that works for every single person, or we need a system that works collectively.
Right.
You know, I mean, I liked the idea, and that's why I bought that website, was if we could just direct everybody to one place, and then anyone who's doing a virtual open, like it's the link to either their Real Scout, their website, their Facebook page, you know, wherever, that seems to be the easiest shortcut right now. But I just got to get some signage to get that out there. How's the pizza, Jen Bucky's? Where's it from? I should have wiped her hand off first.
I made it.
Oh, man.
You're making me want to eat pizza.
It's so good. I use it's a sourdough crust. It's really good.
It's gonna for sure happen.
Sourdough crust. Oh, I gotta call my friend and check in on his sourdough starter. He was real stressed out about it a month ago. So, all right. I'll work on some of these sign things, because I would love. I don't. You know, even if it just said the Facebook symbol, virtual tours of it. Like I don't want to overcomplicate it. You know, the whole point of that sign that had that white spot on it was, no lie. So the sign that I used to have made that was like that, and I've said this before, but in case you weren't there, is it said next open house, and then it would have a big white spot, and then it had my name and my phone number and the logo on it. And I would advertise, even if I was having an open house in 2 weeks, I would put that date on there. That way, in that market, people would wait 2 weeks and go to an open house. So it's almost like my vision for this sign is like something that's a little bit more permanent, and then there's a white spot that I would just print it and I would clear packing tape it to it. And yes, it did look a little hillbilly, but it worked. So, you know, I don't want to not do something because it might look a little hillbilly, as long as it gets the right message out there. Because I think people are forgiving right now. They're knowing that we are adapting and doing everything that we can. All right, any other listing topics that we want to talk about? We actually went a little longer than I'm supposed to be on a call right now. Anybody? No? Okay. All right, well, if anybody has specific questions, please let me know. I know that this is hard because it changes literally every minute and every day. So let me know, and then I'm going to jump off. I did record this, so I'm going to post this. And I know there's a few things that I've recorded recently that didn't get posted, so I'm going to just put out, like, send out everything, links to everything, because I know everyone has not had the opportunity to be online for everything. So, all right, you guys, if there's nothing else. I can announce some bad news to you guys right now.
What?
It's real bad news.
What?
So after today, Della, may I? Della and Gabby are being laid off after today.
Oh.
So, yeah. We did everything, I know, as an office, we did everything that we could to keep them on as long as possible. But it's getting to the point where, you know, I can only have Della make so many Excel spreadsheets. So it's obviously just a temporary layoff, but I haven't had a chance to talk to Gabby yet.